Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here with Martin Panev, Chief Account Executive and Trading Analyst, GDMFX. Welcome to today's European session. Starting with just fundamental news, North American markets first, of course. Quite a few speeches last week, starting with Fed's Lockhart speech. Dennis Lockhart, the president of the Atlanta Fed, said that the chances of rate hike have come down since early in August, and there are now 50-50 chances. Jackson Hole Symposium and the position of each member on the rate hike are the following. Chairwoman, of course, Janet Yellen, not at Jackson Hole, she was not there, told Congress in July that the rate hike this year would likely be appropriate. Vice Chair Stanley Fischer, in an interview on Friday, said that it's too early to tell if case for rate hike was more compelling or less compelling. Before China yuan move, Fischer said case for September hike was pretty strong but not conclusive. He says the level of confidence is pretty high. Inflation will return to 2% target. He also delivers a formal speech at the Jackson Hole on Saturday. Governor Brainerd said that June that the Fed should have a data time to show labor market progress, inflation rising as well. Governor Jerome Powell said in early August that he's not sure whether to support a September rate hike. Governor Dalian Turvulo said in June that the U.S. economy has lost momentum. New York Fed President William Dudley said on Wednesday that the rate hike is less compelling than a few weeks ago. Chicago Fed President Charles Evans didn't want rate hikes until middle of next year as a July statement. Richmond Fed President Jeffrey Lacker due to give a speech next month titled "The Case Against Further Delay." Atlanta Fed President Dennis Lockhart sees even odds of a September rate increase. San Francisco Fed President John Williams, who said in June he expected 2 rate hikes this year. Non-voters, St. Louis Fed President James Bullard favors rising rates and said market volatility shouldn't delay action. Kansas City Fed President Easter Jordan favors September hike, but said turmoil complicates the decision. We're moving to Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester, which said that U.S. economy could support a hike, but wants to evaluate all the data first. Boston Fed President Eric Rosengreen said in early July that a hike could come in September as well. We're moving to Minneapolis Fed President Mr. Kocher Lakota, which says that more easing should be considered. Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker has made no public comments on monetary policy. Dallas Fed President Robert Stephen Kaplan has made no public comments on the monetary policy as well. We are expecting today the Chicago Purchasing Managers Index reading and also the current account statement in Canada. Moving to the European markets. Basically, we have quite an important event today, inflation data for the European zone, CPI reports, and also the Swiss KOF Leading Indicator, which is a joint survey with Leading Indicator, which measures future trends of the overall economic activity. It captures the movement of the GDP growth and the economic trend in Switzerland. It is due to come any moment now. We are expecting a positive reading there. We also have the Italian CPI. Tomorrow, European and Germany market manufacturing PMI, German and European unemployment rate. Wednesday, European PPI indexes. On Thursday, the ECB interest rate decision and press conference as well, and the European GDP data overall on Friday. Moving to the Asian Pacific region, Asia's currencies were headed for the biggest monthly loss in 3 years, led by the Malaysian ringgit after the yuan devaluation heightened the risk of currency war in the region, following the Asian equities extending the biggest monthly decline in more than 3 years after the Federal Reserve officials signaled that they are prepared to rise interest rates even amid turmoil in Chinese markets. The yen halted a 4-day drop, while the Australia's dollar retreated with copper. China's oil majors are primed to join the latest round of global energy deals triggered by the collapse in energy prices. PetroChina Company, the nation's biggest explorer and producer, said this week it's eyeing targets and in discussions about asset swaps in North America. Its rival, China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, Asia's largest refiner, signaled it's looking at overseas acquisitions. Capital spending reports for the second quarter, this is for the yen today. It measures the change in total value of capital expenditures by enterprises. It's considered as an early indicator of economic health in Japan. Moving to the commodity sector, starting with the S&P 500 index, which had a range of 27 points on Friday. Currently, it's at 1,970. Gold had held mostly steady on Monday as investors sharpened their focus on U.S. data and the Fed. Gold had a range of $17 on Friday, trading at 1,135 per troy ounce right now. Crude oil prices were quoted sharply lower in early Asian session today, reversing last week's gains as investors eye global demand. The futures surged for the second consecutive session on Friday, capping the biggest two-day percentage gain since 2009, as traders returned to the market to close out bets on lower prices, a move known as short covering. WTI had $4 range on Friday at 44.70 currently. That was all from me from today. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you a successful trading day. Cheers. Bye-bye.